Hello everybody, welcome to another video where I talk about AuDHD and what I think about it basically. But I have this little list here. I don't think I'm going to do all of them, but I did want to talk about AuDHD and jobs. Now, one of the things that I've heard of people in the autism spectrum community and I guess the neurodivergent community is that jobs difficult to find, difficult to maintain. And I've always had jobs ever since I started working. Started my career. I don't really have a career, I just have had jobs basically. But still, ever since then, I've always found a job and managed to hold on to it at least for a couple of years. I had one job for 18 years, so that actually went fairly well where it comes to job maintenance. That doesn't mean that those 18 years were without issues. Now, there's always issues on everybody's work. It's not like other people who aren't neurodivergent don't have issues with their job ever. It's more like my issues were not the work itself. The thing with jobs in general is when you're looking for jobs, you go to a job listing site, you see a couple of job listings that you're interested in, you open them up, you have a list of things that they want from a candidate, right? Like you need to be this, you need to be that, and you have this experience, you have that experience, these skills, blah, blah, blah. And you can look at that and go, okay, this job is for me, or maybe not, I'll look at a different job. And then you find one or two that you're interested in, and then you apply for said job. You get invited to an interview, hopefully, and then when you are in the interview, you can tell them all about your skills and stuff like that. And if they think that your masking is good enough, that they don't notice that there's anything wrong with you, and they see that your resume is good enough, they might give you a trial run period, however long the trial is, wherever you're at. During the trial period, you're going to show them that you have the skills that you say you have, you're going to do the job right and stuff like that, and then you're going to get a contract, maybe. Like, I don't know how the jobs work where you're at, if you're always going to have a temp contract. Usually, in the Netherlands anyway, what's standard in most places is you get usually a year contract, of which the first month is the trial period. So if you make it through the first month, and the rest of the months you're just going to be on that year contract. And if they don't like you in the first month, then they can just dissolve that contract, and then you're out of there. So the first month is never an issue for me because I always manage to show them that I can do the work. Actually, I'm usually better than the job listing that I apply for, because then I know for sure that I can comfortably do what they're asking for. So they're always happy with me with the first month. They're usually happy with me with the years that come as well when it comes to job performance, because job performance is the thing that I can do. Where it tends to go a little bit awry, and this is not something that they can fire you over, so that's why I've always been able to keep a job, is the social aspect, because I cannot do that as well as other people. I'm fairly good at masking, so when people have seen me for a while, they'll notice that there's something a little off about me, but they tend to just throw that under they're kind of arrogant, they're kind of aloof, they're kind of shy maybe, or they just don't like me or whatever it is, but they don't think, oh, this person might be on the spectrum. Like, I don't give off that vibe unless you know what you're looking for, so to speak. So where I tend to get in trouble with jobs, like I said, it's not a fireable offense, so I've never been fired for it, but it's like people tend to have certain expectations, particularly if you're female or a woman. If you want to like not use the word female, I kind of find that kind of clinical. But if you're a woman, then there are certain expectations of you socially. They expect you to be a good talker, or to at least be interested in other people, to want to talk about kids or the weekend or blah, 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 whatever it is, or to just show up one day with a cup of coffee and just have a random conversation with people. I am not that. I have the rejection sensitivity from the ADHD side of the AuDHD, and I have my factual brain, I guess, from the autism side of things. So when I see somebody sitting behind their workplace and they're at work, they appear to be busy, I'm not going to walk up to them and just want to have a random conversation with people. I assume that they're busy, and unless I actually have something that I consider to be worthwhile to talk to them about, I'm not going to approach them, I'm not going to talk to them. So I don't tend to talk much to people outside of work. It's like literally while I'm at work, about work. And when I'm not at work, I don't tend to send them messages either, because I find that kind of odd, because why would I send them messages? I also don't have anybody on my Instagram Actually, I don't have Instagram anymore. I have an account, but I've actually not installed the app anymore because they wanted way too much personal information to install the app and just run it. So I was like, nope, Facebook doesn't need all that information from me more than they already have. So I'm uninstalling Instagram. So I'm not really connected to anybody on social media. So I don't connect with them on social media, and while I'm at work, I tend to stick to the business. That's what I'm there for. That's what I feel comfortable with. And that means that mostly people will kind of not want to include me in social things because I'll notice that there are all of these WhatsApp groups for different types of fun things, and I'm not in them because they don't really think that I'm interested or whatever. And so I'm not included. And while there are certain things, of course, about my ADHD and just my general schedule that makes me less likely to want to show up after work at certain days of the week, I still like to be included. You know what I mean? It's like it's not like I don't want to know what people are up to or that I don't want to hang out with people. It's just that I tend to have that hang up about I don't have anything to say to them in particular, so I might as well not say anything at all. So there's always that bit of an issue. And like I said, there's just different expectations for women than there are for men. If I were a guy, then me not talking to people much outside of what I currently do would be considered normal. If I were a guy, they would think I was just a regular dude and I would have much less trouble. I really do believe that. So it's also the combination female and neurodivergency that is a bit of an issue when jobs are concerned. So that's always been an issue for me. Other than that, because of the AuDHD parts, I am able to read people's faces, at least somewhat. I tend to read faces in a more negative sense, so people's neutral faces to me often look angry or annoyed or upset, so I tend to be very careful with people anyway. Like, I don't want to bore them with stuff. If I think that they're bored with what I'm trying to say, I'm going to stop talking about it. And maybe they're not bored, maybe they're just thinking about their own stuff or whatever it is. I don't see that, so I stop talking. But it's not like if somebody walks up to me and wants to have a conversation about something that I'm just going to like not talk to them. So I will go in along with the conversation. I will answer questions and stuff like that. I will also sometimes think to ask questions back because that's also important to do. That's one of those things that I've learned over the years. I used to just be like answer people's question and think that I was doing a good job socially because whenever people asked me a question, I would give them an answer. Like, that's what they wanted, right? And I would not think that maybe they also want me to ask them about certain things. So I learned that over years, and so I can kind of get by, but I am usually the first person to leave at a social gathering event. Like, we're going to have an event soon where the management is going to start talking about their plans for next year or whatever. And then after that, there's the social gathering part where everybody gets a drink and they start talking about random whatever. And I'm going to look at the clock repeatedly. And after about half an hour, I'm going to be like, okay, I think I've been here long enough. I'm going to say goodbye and then I'm out because I just cannot stand to stay until the end. First of all, whenever I'm in a crowded room and everybody's talking, I can't hear what the person next to me is saying anyway because I have a certain type of deafness when that happens, that situation happens. So that's always an issue, and I can't understand what they're saying. I don't tend to have a very loud voice either. I can't raise my voice very well, so they also can't understand what I'm saying. So then you're kind of like in a little bubble of your own, and you're just kind of awkwardly holding your drink and like going looking around like, oh, can I talk to this person? They seem busy. Can I talk to that person? They also seem busy. Guess I'll just wait here, like until it's time to go, like that type of things. That's always very awkward. I cannot do those things. I hate them. So, and I also want to know beforehand where the parking is and stuff like that. I always want to have a plan. I don't like going places I've never been to because where can I put the car? How do I get there? What type of roads are there? So that always gives me a lot of stress. And that makes me less likely to want to show up for certain types of events. So job-wise, like I said, quick summary. I can do the job. I can do the job well. Whenever I have a performance review, that section is never an issue. They're never going to say anything about I should do this better, I should do that better, because that's always going to be better than expected. They can't fire me for that or the other thing, because you can't fire somebody for that. What you can expect, and what I have experienced, is that certain companies will start a bullying tactic, and certain coworkers will start to bully or ignore you because they think you're weird. And I've even had a time when I worked at a different place where I am at now, where I started to explore that maybe I was on the spectrum, and I actually went and told a coworker that I saw fairly often, like, hey, I think I might be autistic. And then immediately they went, oh, but you don't look autistic. You can have conversations with me. I feel like can have a conversation with you, and whenever we do this, you are also responding to our questions and stuff like that. So basically that was a very nice first attempt at trying to come out as autistic or maybe being on the spectrum, because that's something that you get a lot. And I think even if I had a diagnosis, that's probably going to still continue to happen, because I've heard that also happens with people who do have a diagnosis. So people don't even really care whether you do or don't have the piece of paper that says, yeah, we think you're on the spectrum, because they just, I don't know, it's the typical you don't look like my nephew type of thing. So anyway, so you can expect, if you're still out there looking for jobs, that there's going to be an issue with the social part of the work. They expect more from you than just the list of demands for the job itself. So it's very hidden. There tends to be a little blurb of text about what they're like, supposedly, right? There's always a little bit of text that says, oh, we're like a family over here, la 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 la. And you're like, okay, cool, but I'm just really interested if I meet the criteria. But the criteria list is not all that they're looking for. They're looking for somebody who fits the blah, 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 we're like a family as well. So if you have issues with that, you're going to have issues with jobs. Because, like I said, it's not a fireable offense, but they can try to bully you out of work. And if they really want you gone, you'll see things like suddenly things that you used to do, that used to be part of your work, will be given to somebody else, or that part is just no longer an issue. You can go do something else, or you get transferred to a different department. And it won't necessarily be like firing you, but it'll be putting you in a place where they know you're not going to be comfortable, and then they hope that you'll choose to leave. Like, that's the whole thing that you can expect. I've had similar situations, but I've always left of my own volition without actually being placed in a new location. Like, I've had certain types of conversations with people, managers, who are like, oh, we're concerned that you're not in the right place, and maybe you should look for another location to work because we feel like we're holding you back, and all that sort of woolly talk that's basically saying, like, we don't really want you here, we don't like you. Like, that type of thing I've had in the past, but I've always left of my own volition, so that's good. I've never actually been bullied that far that I left, so that's good. But it's something to keep in mind if you feel like you're on the spectrum, or you actually have a diagnosis of either one or other types of neurodivergency. Be prepared for that type of thing. And if you cannot be sociable, try to get people to realize that it's not that you're unwilling, it's just that there are certain things that you cannot do. You also have to be careful with that, I find, because some companies will consider people who are on the spectrum to be some type of liability, and then that might actually start the bullying campaign. So you got to be careful. You got to like feel how people are, try to feel if it's a good environment to talk about such things. Maybe talk to a coworker whom you do trust first to see what they think, if you should or shouldn't reveal that part about you or not. Try to be careful in that regard. But know beforehand that you might encounter such issues. So that is my thoughts about being on the spectrum and in combination with jobs. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this whole topic. Have you encountered similar issues? How have you dealt with them if you have? And if you haven't, just, I guess, maybe you can leave some comments about that, what you hope will happen. And other than that, I hope you're having a nice day. Hope to see you in another video. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.